Epic battle
Krystal,
between
what are you
cash and
taking a look at
culture
today?
war.
Well, like the stimulus
Remaking
checks
American
before them, the
politics.
child tax credit has officially reached meme status.
So I got my first child tax credit payment today, which means the government has officially paid me more child support than my baby daddy ever has.
Okay, a couple people making TikToks of them being happy about this. I don't think that's meme status. I mean, the stimulus checks were like that too. Like, oh, baby, the stimmy just hit. I'm gonna go buy something. Or like, oh, that Biden stimmy felt nice, baby. Oh, yes, give me another stimmy. Like, that was all over the place. There was a really funny Joe Biden meme. Oh my goodness. I have to find it. It was so funny about the stimmies. No, it said Moneybags Joe. It had him like on the cover of a rap song. It's like a album cover artwork, album artwork, and it had Moneybags. It wasn't that funny, but I thought it was funny. Shouldn't people be happy about this though? Because the birth rate is lowering. So you want to incentivize having children. That's one thing the government is supposed to do. Set positive incentives in a market for doing certain things. So if we have a shortage of babies being born, not only do we need people to be more successful, so we need to help financially a lot of mothers, which is a good thing to do. Getting children out of poverty, getting people out of poverty in general, that's a good thing to do. But also, if you want more people to have kids, support mothers, support parents, make having kids not terrible, because in our country, we don't provide basic necessities like European countries do. America, so rich, so powerful, yet Europe and Canada can provide their people more. Paid family medical leave, health care, daycare, all provide. Oh my goodness, how do they do it? How do they do it if they have less money? I don't understand. How does America do worse? How are we ranked 27th for healthcare in America? I don't understand.
So according to Vox, hashtag child tax credit and hashtag child tax credit 2021, those both went wild on TikTok with tens of millions of views each. As you may know, the child tax credit provides parents with $300 per child under 6 and $250 for kids 6 to 17. So if you've got 3 kids, you could be getting a max benefit of $900 per month, and that is real money. What's more, the credit is not just for low-income families. It starts.
You know what? She is correct. I have nothing to argue with here. That is indeed real money.
Out at $150K for most married parents, which means that some 88% of children in 39 million households are going to benefit. That matters a lot. The fact that comfortably middle-class families will receive the benefit makes it much less likely that it's going to be welfare.
What's her point about culture war, though? Because I know Krystal Ball is a person who believes that she believes basically in the idea that class politics can win everything. So like if there is a candidate that will give people healthcare and a job and money and stimulus and all that stuff, she believes that that candidate will win. So for example, she's wrong because Americans, I bring this up a lot. I talk about this a lot, how culture and social issues, those are things people vote off of. People usually don't vote off of like really factual based economic reasons. They don't vote rationally, typically. So this right here is a good practice run. Like, hey, if Biden gives mothers or, you know, gives families, I'm not going to assume they're all mothers that are getting this, gives mothers and fathers, anybody with kids, if Biden gives them stimulus through the child tax credit, will more of them vote for him? Or will they stay stuck in their like culture and social voting slots?
To death. So knowing all of that, shouldn't be all that surprising that the sudden infusion of cash to millions of moms and dads might provoke a bit of a sensation, especially when you consider that the people who will be helped the most by the money are also the people who have been the most...
Economics, objectively, is not the number one reason. I can't even debate this with you. It simply isn't true. It's not true by any metric. There is no rhyme or reason to it, like other than social issues. Trump voters did not waver, even with the economy crashing. They voted for him because of social reasons, because of immigration, because when Trump said immigrants are rapists and killers, that's when people came out to vote for him. They didn't come out to vote because of purely economic issues. That may have been an influence. If Hillary Clinton, I said this before, if she was better on economics, if she spoke more to the working man or whatever, you know, working person, working person, not man, because women are better than men. But if she spoke more to class politics, I think she would have beat Donald Trump. But largely, 80% of voters vote off of social and cultural reasons. They vote off of party reasons. They are very partisan or very ideologically driven, not based off economics. A very small number of voters votes based off economics. Maybe in certain elections that'd be enough to swing it, but that's not true about the class thing. Class isn't the number one reason.
Was routinely screwed over by a corporate-run government that consistently protects the interests of the wealthy over the many. What's interesting is that usually on this show, we think about culture and we think about material politics as being totally separate. Here, and also with the stimulus checks, you have a collision of culture with populist economics. The very visible and widespread nature of the program made it into a cultural moment, the type of thing that normal people are talking about in normal settings, not just weirdos like us, and that is actually really powerful. In fact, cash politics as culture could be exactly the thing to combat the shiny objects and sectarian silliness of our typical culture war battles. Democrats are certainly betting on the power of cash. For now, the credit is temporary. Biden's COVID stimulus included just 1 year of funding for it. The proposed reconciliation.
And what I'm saying, I'm not saying that Joe Biden or Democrats can't win elections if they focus more on issues like this. I do agree with you, but if they gave every single Republican in America $1 million today, those Republicans would still vote for Donald Trump. They would still vote Republican because they don't vote based off class issues. They don't vote based off who gives them money as a whole, as a majority. A majority of voters, left and right, vote off of, are you pro-BLM or anti-BLM? Are you pro-immigration or anti-immigration? Are you pro-LGBT or anti-LGBT? Are you pro-religion in our schools or anti-religion in our schools? Are you pro-burning the flag or are you pro... or are you pro, I don't know, putting people who burn the flag in prison? Like, those are the social issues people vote on mostly. What side were you on during the BLM protests? Were you saying all lives matter or BLM? Like, those are the things people vote off of. But in the middle, there are a couple voters who can fall for economic populism if they are truly helped by the government, because people's ideologies aren't really that made up. But largely, culture runs politics. And that's important to remember if you're like a progressive trying to be centrist in a Democratic primary race, because you need to be able to connect socially to like certain voters. Because if you're gonna go 100% on class issues, you're gonna miss out on getting a majority of a party's vote, because a majority of each party is voting off of social and cultural issues.
Package. They're talking about funding it through 2024. And that date, by the way, not an accident. Effectively, the Biden administration...
That's so smart. Oh, my goodness. Good job, Biden. I love it. So yum yum.
Congressional Democrats, they want to create a kind of household financial cliff for the 2024 general election, forcing...
Republicans want to take away money. We want to give you money. We support the American family. Republicans, they want to just like kill trans, like, dude, come on. They just want to they just don't like BLM. Like, come on, dude. They're focused on a bunch of these culture issues. We're gonna give you we're gonna slip you a couple 20s. All right. If you have kids, we're gonna support you. Don't worry. We're going to support you. They're going to be over there yelling about some immigration. We don't got to worry about that. It's just me and you. If you hang out with me, you're going to be funded. Just know that, baby.
Republicans to either back making the tax credit permanent or get hit over the head repeatedly with the fact that they plan to take money out of the pockets of 39 million households, just as Biden is running for re-election. So cement and endorse a big Biden win or take an extraordinarily unpopular position. That's going to be the choice offered to Republicans. As one Dem strategist told the Daily Beast, I can all but guarantee you Democrats are going to tattoo it to their...
Xander Hall blocked me for saying he wasn't canceled for debating Lauren Southern. Oh my goodness. Oh no. I mean, he should have been canceled because he did terrible and made her look great. I mean, but he lost. He took a big L. He went into a bad situation and made it worse. But I mean, I don't think anybody canceled him for talking to her.
Their foreheads, and not to do it would be criminal. So, a sort of natural experiment is being set up. We know Republicans are going to run on being a bulwark against critical race theory, cancel culture, and cultural liberalism in general. They might dust off the old Tea Party era anti-deficit rhetoric too, but clearly the energy in the party at the grassroots level is pure culture war. And I mean,
yes, it is.
Or otherwise, but these cultural freakouts, they're pretty powerful.
She's catching on. I like it. I like seeing the progression. There's a good character progression here. She is catching on.
Politics has not worked for a long time to actually improve material well-being. It collapses down to culture war. Which team pisses off the people I hate the most? Who can at least yell into the void in a way that I find satisfying rather than enraging? But I do think that Republicans forgot one important lesson from their near miss back in 2020. A lot has been made of Latino voters in particular shifting to the GOP. Puzzled journalists took themselves down to the Rio
Oh
Grande Valley.
my goodness, economics isn't number one. If 80% of voters, okay, so if 20% of voters vote off economic issues, and that's enough to swing an election, that doesn't mean economic issues were the number one reason people voted how they did. Even if they say it was for economics or healthcare or something like that, people are mostly partisan. They choose a side. They already know who they're gonna vote for the next 10 elections. Most people are like that. I'm not. Even the numbers you sent me said that. I don't know what you're talking about.
To find out what exactly was going on there. And one of the answers that they got was pretty straightforward. Residents got a stimulus check with Trump's name on it, and that seemed pretty good to them. One former mayor told the Wall Street Journal that after the stimulus checks, he started to see memes of Latinos
Papa Trump
holding out their hands to Papa Trump for money. If we speak in the language of memes, he said, there were a lot of Trump as this fatherly figure who was going to help you. Not only that, Pelosi and the Democrats, they may well have been punished by voters for playing games
That's
with...
all you gotta be. You don't gotta be angry at people. When they say Joe Biden is doing bad as president, just be chill with it. Like, dude, literally Republicans right now are concerned about putting cameras in bathrooms and having genital inspections for trans people, and having cameras in school buildings and banning the teaching of like the Civil War and banning MLK speeches. All you gotta say is they're doing that. Meanwhile, Democrats are trying to build our roads back up. Democrats are trying to give us union jobs. Democrats are helping our families, are helping bring children out of poverty. Democrats are focusing on health care. Democrats are focusing on all these real issues. And guess what? They are libertarians socially. Who cares who you decide to be with or who you decide to be? Who cares? We want to help families, give you health care, and let you live your lives.
Stimulus checks leading up to the election, something we talked about a lot at the time. And McConnell and the Senate Republicans may well have been punished by voters in Georgia for blocking another round of checks. These are all budding signs that cash politics could truly reign supreme. One hallmark of the neoliberal era has been making government policy as Byzantine and non-obvious as possible. Everything's means tested, everything's loaded down with paperwork, and just frankly really confusing. Technocrats loved to create these programs and benefits that you didn't even really know you were receiving. Obamacare is a pretty good example of that. A whole lot of people benefit from the program without having any idea that they're actually benefiting from the program. So even when the government might actually be doing something for you, it can be kind of hard to tell or extremely onerous in order to claim that benefit. Checks are the polar opposite of that. They are in your face to the point of being a cultural sensation. And maybe, just maybe, fighting culture war with cash culture war is exactly the way out of an endless...
See, even Krystal here, her evaluation here is really progressed from her a year ago. She is saying we need culture behind it. Money alone isn't going to do it. If we just help people through money and we don't let them know we are doing it through like a cultural reinforcement, it's not going to benefit us politically. We need to make sure people know we are the reason they are getting money. We are the people that are going to be providing for American families. So she's understanding that now, which is nice to see. It's a great improvement from before. It seems that she has lost hope in the 100% class politics works for everything angle, because that isn't true. It hasn't been true. Even looking at the biggest shift in political ideas after the civil rights movement, when we had the big Southern strategy and the parties flipped, that had no other reason other than social issues. If you really think about it, it was white Southerners went Republican because they were the anti-black party after the civil rights movement, and then the pro-freedom party went to those voters went to the Democratic Party back then. They weren't doing it for economic reasons. Black voters didn't go Democrat for economic reasons. And white voters down south didn't go for Republicans for economic reasons. There is a deeper, more complex thing happening. And that caused such a major shift in politics in America in general that class issues could never. No class issue has ever made political ideologies move that far in one way or the other. No matter if the economy is doing good or bad, people's social positions are going to be relatively where they already are, unless if you have complete social degradation, but that's a totally different conversation.